Welcome to the Recruiting Intel on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. With me, as always, is Charlie Williams. I'm Justin Wells, your host, and we're going to talk a little bit about the class of 2026 today. Some of the big commitments are actually taking visits to other schools. We also have eyes on a handful of kids coming in this weekend, beginning with Katie and Bryant, the number one quarterback in 2027. We're going to tackle that one as well. But first, you got to come to Inside Texas. You can get it only for $1 for your first week. And as a bonus, your membership includes a complimentary year to The Athletic. That's Inside Texas. Join right now for $1. Come hang out with us. Come see us. Charlie, week one has come. It's gone. It felt like the whole weekend after that loss. Like it just felt like it drug out. But then we start talking to recruits, and it's usually not near as bad as fans think it is. And so I want to start with Derek Cooper, because that's numero uno tailback in this class of 2026. It's obvious how important this guy is. This is the only tailback they're taking in this cycle. And he went and hung out in Miami for a really, really fun, good game. And down in South Beach. Man, it was a close one. But him and J.J. Johnson, another defensive line commit for Texas, who's actually number one player in Florida, he also was there. Charlie, if you're a Texas fan, you needed Miami to lose. You didn't need them to – I don't want to say to lose, but you didn't need them to win in fantastic fashion.
Right.
You didn't need to win in front of a commuter school that kind of packed a stadium, surprisingly. They don't usually do that.
Right.
Believe it or not, down there. And so I caught up with a source close to Cooper over at Texas. Cooper actually called Texas that night, or the next day, rather. Called him the next day, kind of letting them know how much, what he did and whatnot. How important is it, for these guys? You posted a story a while back, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But, how important is it, game to games don't matter. But, man, did Miami do a lot on Sunday to try to flip Cooper and Johnson?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing you can always do with a kid is the in-person test, right? You can tell them everything in the offseason, show them all the bells and whistles. When you get on the field and show them exactly everything you've been selling them on, that's when it matters, right? Beating a team that just went to the national championship, even though they didn't win it, primetime game. There's only 2 games on that day, right? So everybody was paying attention.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was electric. They featured the running back a ton. I mean, they showed them everything they would want. And then if you're James Johnson, they definitely featured that defensive line getting after the quarterback for Notre Dame, especially late in the game to close it out. So they're 16, 17, 18-year-olds. They have a lot of emotions, right? You can become prisoner of the moment sometimes. You're in the hype of it. You're in the middle of it. You're probably, if you're not supposed to be on the sideline, maybe you're close to the action. So you get a chance to kind of see it. And your emotions can be running really high. But I think one thing, once the dust kind of settles, you tend to fall back on your relationships that you have with schools, and right, and not to get caught up in the emotion of one game. And so I think a lot of those kids are running through that, but you got to kind of temper it, because it's a roller coaster. It goes up and down.
It does, and it's just one of those games. You said it. The running game looked really good. I thought Fletcher was a really good little running back. Like I remember him a little bit from last year. Personally, I thought the O-line for Miami was probably their strength. Like, I feel like that's just a mauling type group. But on the other side, Texas has the number one defensive tackle in the class, and J.J. Johnson. You said it. That D-line showed up. Miami's defense played well. Now, they took a few breathers, but for the most part, they played really well against a fresh quarterback in C.J. Carr. Yeah. With Cooper, I think Texas is fine. I really do. And because this is not just a regular recruitment, it's also an NIL recruitment. And that's a substantial thing in this. And so I think Texas is good there. With Johnson, that's another one. He spoke to Rivals reporter Chad Simmons in the On3 network, and he kind of gave a little bit of cliffhanger type quotes. Stay tuned. Miami did everything they needed to. Da 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 da. I feel fine about Cooper right now. How do you feel about Johnson?
Like I said, it's one of those things. You look at it. From a defensive lineman, they're not just using their, the edge guys. They're using their big guys on the edge to go close out games. If they're telling him, look, we'll let you come in and be versatile. You play up and down line of scrimmage. You want to use your explosiveness. He got a chance to see that. Like I said, it's one thing to tell a kid something, but to actually show him, that matters. And if that's an NIL recruitment you combine those two, action and NIL, I think you got something. So we kind of monitor that recruitment and see how Texas, if he visits Texas and sees the exact same thing,
Yeah.
you can compare your options, right, and go from there. But like I said, it's going to come down to relationships and where you see an opportunity getting on the field and playing it. I think that all matters. So, but this is going to be, I think that could be a tight race to signing day, honestly.
Yeah, I think both of these are going to be semi-tight races going down to signing day, and that begs the question: if you're an opposing team recruiting, a Texas commit, what you saw Saturday is what's your first response? Like, Texas just lost on a major stage in a major way. They're going to smell blood. They're going to, like, for me, my first thought is, how fast did it take Shane Beamer to call Samari Matthews? It's because that's the game you play when you recruit out of state as much as Texas does. Those kids are going to take other visits, and then when you do get a bump in the road, coaches are going to pounce on that. Is that something they think about and talk about in those recruiting staffs?
Oh, most definitely. You're going to use everything you can as a recruiting staff to negative recruit or tell the truth. If you saw something, right, you're going to use it to your advantage. Hey, why would you come here? They didn't develop a second corner. You see, he got beat. Right? It's like just little things. They'll find any nuance to talk about to say why you should be at their school and how they develop. And when you come here, you don't have to worry about that situation. But these kids, if they're smart, and most of these kids are really, really smart, and their families are that they come from, especially kids I know we have covered and talked to that Texas recruiting, they don't get caught up in the emotions of that, right? Most of these kids say, hey, I want to be put in that situation. Put me at a corner. Put me at Derek Cooper. Put me at running back. I could have broke some of those runs and went to the house and changed the game versus Ohio State. So a lot of kids that we see and we talk to, I think they're emotionally tied to Texas, especially if they're already committed. Like, hey, I want to be the difference maker to come in and be that guy that they need to get them over the hump, right? So I think they look at it totally different than a normal fan would.
I've got a really good question about NIL and how it applies to watching out-of-state commitments right now. But we're going to see that. We're going to talk about that on the other side. Right now, it's time for game time.
We are in September, so that means college football is in full swing. And if you want to get in on the college football action with the best tickets, there's no other place to go than Game Time. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. Game Time is one of the easiest apps to work with. You get a view of your seat, you get an all-in price, and you get the best deals like college football tickets as low as $25. Love the feature that shows you what your view looks like. I looked at tickets in the Horseshoe. You saw what it was like in the Ohio Stadium right there on your screen. You can do the same for Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. You get exclusive discounts like zone deals where you choose the section, Game Time selects the seat, and you save. Fees are included, so you know your total up front. No surprise at checkout. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone finds out by following your favorite teams in the Game Time app to receive alerts. And Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They have the lowest price guarantee. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code ON3, ON3 for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time app today or go to gametime.co.
What time is it, Charlie?
Yo, it's game time.
There we go. That's his best Cliff Levingston impersonation. I think I told Charlie this before, but I rode jet skis with Cliff Levingston in Cozumel when I was like 20 years old. He just so happened to be at the same place I was, renting at the same time. I'm the only sports idiot on that island that recognized Cliff Levingston. But it's hard to miss him. He was like 6'11", 7 foot. He had that face. It was too easy to figure out. Before the break, I asked you. I said there's something I want to ask you. In the past, when players go out of state, you can get out of state commitments, and they take these visits, especially in home, like a Cooper, like a Johnson. Those games could have somewhat of an effect. How much does NIL kind of really rearrange that, so to speak? Because a lot of some of these kids commit to the schools because they really like the school and the coaches and all that. Some of these kids commit to the schools because they're the highest bidder. And so I'm thinking now, even a road, even watching commitments in a home stadium of an opposing team, somebody like that, I'm thinking they're still really far away in NIL. And I think that still really matters, especially to these top tier elite guys. How much do you think that's changed? Because 3 or 4 years ago, these guys take a visit, they see the school, they like it, they can get caught up in it, but there was no NIL offer. So they always have that kind of in the back of their mind. Yeah, I went to see Miami, but man, their offer was really low. Like, how much do you think that NIL influences it now?
I would say heavily, and it depends on the recruit, right? We've seen some recruitments and kids and families say, "Hey, that's a fair number. We're good. We like everything else that the school provides." The 40-year opportunity versus the 4-year window, right? And so, but you have those families who have that uncle, that agent saying, "Hey, let's squeeze the most juice out of this thing," right? And so, I think it really just depends on the kid and the circle that around the kid in the recruitment that matters the most when it comes to that. Like you said, we just talked about negative recruiting. Some schools out there. Some agent is saying, "Hey, that team needs you. Let's see if we can get a little more money out of them now," right? They weren't able to stop the run. They weren't able to stop the pass. They need you. They'll probably pay more than they're paying now. So, and if the kid listens to that, the family listens to that, then NIL weighs heavy. You kind of know what kind of kid you're getting or recruitment that you're involved in if it's about NIL solely. And so I think it really just depends per kid and per situation. But for the top guys, hey, they're going to want top dollar. I think they deserve it at this point. You never know. I guess this is considered your first contract now, and you get your second contract when you get to the NFL. So I guess you better maximize it because it may not be there.
No, and I think you're right there too. It to me, it matters because, in the past, people would kind of get frustrated with players, out-of-state commits taking visits because there was no NIL deal. And so if you rubbed them the right way, they were happy. They were in a good place at a good time. They may get caught up in the moment. Might work out. This is not the case anymore. I think that NIL number is significant. As much as Miami might kind of push Johnson and Cooper, and there's a number of these other players, but the NIL number was still pretty far away. And so you wonder if Miami continues to win, if they increase that offer. I seem to think they will, especially if they're winning. They had the opportunity to increase it. If they don't, I almost feel like it's a zero-sum game when these recruits go to other places, because if they're not going to match with the elite guys, then I think that gets in the way a little bit. So I'm with you. I do think it's on a player-to-player basis. Texas is coming home this weekend. They're coming back. They're out of Columbus. We don't have to go back for a while. And they're hosting San Jose State, and they've got a nice little roster of guys that are coming in as recruits. As many guys you and I talked to in the last month, most of the players told me they had 2 dates coming to Texas. They're going to go watch Texas OU in Dallas, and then they're going to watch Texas A&M in late November. Those seem to be the 2 dates that most of the players had kind of like penciled in. There's still a handful of guys that are going to be in this weekend. Tyler Atkinson, the number 1 linebacker in 2026, Texas commit. He's going to come in so he can see his guys. He had a great first game, by the way, last week.
Yeah, he did.
Here's another one, 2027 number 1 quarterback, Kavion Bryant out of Palestine Westwood. He's going to be in Austin this weekend as well. If you'll remember, Bryant picked up an offer in early June. He didn't make it to the elite camp. He came by himself. He came later with his family, I think on a Wednesday or Thursday, talked to the basketball coaches, and then and got that offer. And I can remember how excited his dad was. I think it was his dad's birthday that day. And so they were so happy. It was almost a celebration. That being said, he was in Tallahassee last weekend, and I got to tell you something. He had a good time, and for good reason. Yeah. Not only did Florida State look really good against an Alabama team at home, Doak was kind of rocking again, and it had been a while since that gotten up. And so, just a real quick on Kavion, they loved it. They got to look at the basketball facility. They got to go play some basketball. They stayed for 2 days, Charlie. They really enjoyed that. And this was an unofficial visit. They really enjoyed it. And listen, Florida State's kind of viewed as the dark horse in this recruitment. Most people had kind of, and me included, had kind of thought it was going to be a Texas Tech battle, even though Florida State's actually built this relationship the longest. They've been selling him the longest on the potential of playing 2 sports. If he wanted to be a Charlie Ward, how he got there. How big was that win for Florida State in front of a quarterback that has 3 schools he really likes, but he's having a hard time figuring out which one's which?
It's huge. I mean, it kind of goes back to the game itself. You look how they use the quarterback in Gus Malzahn's system. You look at how the previous quarterbacks he's used. It fits Kavion Bryant's style. He's a dual threat guy who can run and throw. Can you imagine him in an offense like that in front of that stadium, that electric, going against an Alabama? Man, it had to be huge. And like you said, a school that featured a basketball player and a football player, dual sport athlete in Charlie Ward, who played quarterback at Florida State and basketball, right? But they have a number of athletes who played multiple sports at Florida State. I mean, Deion played, I want to say 3, ran track, played baseball, and played football.
Yeah,
so,
I forgot about that.
I'm not calling Kavion prime time, but, it's still the opportunity is there, and I'm sure they're selling him on that. And it was this electric atmosphere to be a part of. But, man, he got a show. He was in for a show in Tallahassee this past weekend. He got to see all the fireworks, and what a great game. I don't know. Maybe Florida State's on the rise. Everything like I said, everything they've been selling. Hey, maybe it was a fluke of a season last year. We're back this year. Who knows? But, I'm sure Kavion Bryant, I see why they stayed 2 days, man. I would have wanted to take in Tallahassee myself.
They're in the Sunshine State. They're partying like it's 1999. Like Florida State and Miami look good. In college football, it can be a very interesting fall when those two programs are humming, when those two programs are good. I mean, just from us personally, we grew up in a Miami, Florida State society in college football. They were always good for the most part. I mean, forever, it seemed like. And so I think it's good when the schools are good. I think Florida State put itself up on his board. If anything, they may be his top school now. And so Texas gets a chance to take a look, and they'll get to talk and see each other on Saturday, 11 a.m. kickoff at DKR for San Jose State. Here's the thing about Kavion Bryant. I really do, and I believe this. I do think it's down to those 3 schools still. He'll see Texas this weekend. Then he's going to hit Lubbock next weekend, and that'll be, I believe, when they're hosting Oregon State. He wants to decide in October, mid-October to late October, maybe even around the Halloween holiday. He wants to make that decision. And you know this, with 2027 quarterbacks, with junior quarterbacks, they want to get that spot before they're going into their senior year.
Right.
Most of them, the higher end guys, get that spot before or during their junior year. And so I could see Kavion kind of wanting to get a little bit closer to that. What does Texas, and most notably Sark and Arch Manning, need to show Kavion this weekend?
Really just stick to the program. Honestly, Ohio State happened. It happens. They're human, right? Arch Manning is human. It happens. And so I think this everything you've shown over the past few years, Coach Sarkisian as a quarterback developer over the last, I don't know how many years, go all the way dating back to USC. I think they've already shown enough, right? I think Kavion Bryant is a smart kid, smart family. They know exactly how Coach Sarkisian can develop him. Coach Milwee can develop him in the room, right? Get him prepared on the field. He's going to play with the best athletes out wide. I mean, so there's not much to show, right? You just need to go there and see it with your own eyes, right? And see if the Ohio State game was a fluke or if something else is going on. But other than that, I don't think they have much to show, right? This is more about continue to build a relationship. Hey, man, we want you. We prioritize you in the 2027 class. We want you to be our guy. And then after that, enjoy the game. This could be you in a few years making the same passes, making the same decisions on the field. And then, hey, when the opportunity is there, that's you taking off and going 60 yards to the house.
It is, and I think that's kind of what they're going to look for too. Their family is really cool. His dad is the head basketball coach at Westwood. His mother's the head girls basketball coach. His dad also coaches football, and so his family's always there. And of course, he has 2 little brothers that are going to be elite level recruits. Caden Bryant is his freshman brother that plays receiver in DB. He's already got 3 or 4 offers. He's going to be a really good DB prospect. And then you got the baby in 7th grade, Kobe Bryant, who he may be the one that does it in basketball, but he's also going to play a lot of sports and compete. At this point, I think Florida State and Texas Tech have kind of edged in front of Texas for Bryant. It's not that Texas has let up on him at all. It's just, it reminded me of watching Julian Sayin. He really liked Texas. Mm-hmm. But what was the one thing that he held against Texas? Arch Manning coming in. And I think there's a sense of that with Diabell. When you're the number 1 quarterback in your class and you're coming in, you don't want to follow another number 1, especially one like a Diabell. I mean, goodness gracious. That kid looks even better than advertised. I think he's going to get to Austin in January and be ready to play, be ready to compete for the backup spot immediately.
I agree.
Like that's how Dia works. I don't know if that helps with Texas with Kavian Bryant. I think Kavian, he has no problem earning his spot, but I don't think he wants to stand behind a handful of 5-star quarterbacks and wait his turn either. And if you watch his athleticism, it's one of those things where I think you got to find a spot. Like I don't think you could sit this guy very much longer. And so it's going to be fun. I can't wait to catch up with Kavian after the game, kind of get a general sense of how it goes. They play Friday night at San Augustine down in deep East Texas.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's still – it's East Texas, but, man, it's deep down there. They'll be playing there Friday, and then they'll hit the road on Saturday for that early game. Let's wrap this up with the new AP poll. I thought this was good. I thought this was just – I kind of thought Texas would be in this range, the 6, 7, 8 range. Somebody had posted something on Sunday that said if Vegas, if you ask Vegas about Texas, Ohio State, that Texas would still be favored in a neutral site game. And I think that just goes to show you how close that game really was.
It was
how great that Texas defense is. And then overall, just basically, it's not as bad as it seems in the moment. It's just not. And it's hard to explain that at the time, especially when you can't turn on social media without them beating down that poor kid. But I've been told that the team did an incredible job of like picking him up, building him up, loving on him, letting him know it's in good shape.
Right.
Dude, Alabama?
Yeah.
21.
It'll be the lowest, right? In a long time, been ranked that
How long
low.
has it been? How long has it been since Alabama's 21? What stands out to you first glance?
I would say the biggest thing is, I guess you can give Ohio State number 1, right? And seeing LSU high, they won versus Clemson, so hey, that's another big game. Miami getting 5, right? I mean, I know that's the top to get 3 of those teams actually played someone. I know Georgia and Penn State really didn't have the biggest games or whatever. They're in the top 5, but I don't know. It's a mixed match of teams, right? I mean, you look at Indiana. Hey, Indiana said they're not going anywhere, but Texas Tech has crept their way into the top 25.
Look at Illinois.
Then Joe McGuire's going to let everybody know about that. They're here to stay.
I promise you, Cody Campbell is putting drafting a tweet right now to talk about how Texas Tech being ranked 24th is going to help Olympic women's sports. And so I can't wait to see that one. But no, you're right. Like it's kind of a funny mix of in-state, out-of-state. I got to tell you, what was the one team, I'll ask you and then I'll tell you mine. What was the one team that on this list that kind of didn't surprise you, but you were like, okay, they're going to be legit this season?
If I had to go one, I'm going Georgia because everybody wanted
really.
The only reason why I wanted to see the revamped offensive line, I wanted to see how Gunner, the quarterback, looked. I know they played Marshall, but my God, they got some woolly mammoths on the front line. They can get out there. They look like Connor Stroh, but they run like FloJo. I mean, they can pull and get out there, man. It was amazing to see their running game be improved because they're going to need it, and to see their receivers out there. I think they lost so much. You want to see what the offense. The defense is going to be there, but you want to see how the offense operates, and they can. It looks like a well-oiled machine. I know it was against Marshall, even though they're well coached by Coach Huff. Seeing Georgia offense look good like that, it's like, okay, they may be right back in the mix again.
And they got some skill guys in there. Zerikai Branch is the one, man.
He took one to the house.
Even Nick Saban talked about him during game day. It's like, look, this guy was special. Okay, it was pretty obvious in high school. I do vaguely remember his recruitment. I'm going to go with Arizona State. And I know that sounds, not a big surprise, but let me tell you something. Jordan Tyson might be wide receiver 1 in this draft, Charlie.
Yeah.
And I think you know a little bit about that guy. Look, Arizona State has a great quarterback. I think they have a great coach. I think they have a good culture. I think they got a good thing going. I couldn't get past the fact that if Jordan Tyson was playing in that Peach Bowl last year, I don't know if it ends the same way it does. What do you think about Tyson and those guys?
Look, I love Tyson. Kid I've been knowing since ninth grade. Got a chance to coach him. He played DB and receiver. I think the first time I saw him touch the field, he had a one-handed interception as a freshman. I was like, oh, okay, this kid may have something. And to see him just blossom to what he is now, man, it's so phenomenal, man. I always tell the story, Tyson was like 5'8" at the time. He was a little kid. You never know how he was going to grow. But to see him, grow into what he is now, man, it's just special. He put in a ton of work. I mean, he was always hungry, always wanted to be better each and every day. He always wanted to prove that, hey, I'm a freshman. I can play on varsity. I'm better than these guys. But, man, just to see him now, see him blossom, see him take off. He wasn't heavily recruited coming to high school. A lot of people questioned his speed. I was like, no, This kid can run. He can play. He gets to Colorado, freshman All-American, returning kicks, returning punts, and scoring against some of the top talent out there, in the Pac-12. Man, I'm not surprised because he put in the work. And then the family he comes from, man, it's a great family. They all work hard. Brother was a first-round pick in the NBA, and Jordan Tyson, and Jalen Tyson,
who was also a Texas signee at one point.
Right. And so you got that kind of work ethic of a kid, and he's really matured a lot. Jordan's really, really good kid, man. He's matured a lot, and man, I just love everything. He deserves everything he's getting, but man, he could be receiver one, and it's just good to see a kid grow from a little tiny runt to what he is now.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons I brought that up, because I knew how close you are to him, but also that was something that stood out to me Saturday night. I'm going through watching clips of stuff, and I'm just like, no one can cover this kid. Like this kid, and I think Texas fans need to appreciate the fact that he wasn't on the other side of the field in the Peach Bowl. That would have been a little bit different of an outcome. Charlie, that's going to wrap it up, this edition of the Recruiting Intel on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. We sure do appreciate you fans and commenters for making us a part of your day. Come see us at InsideTexas.com right now. We're running a special. You can join for only $1. Just for that first week, it's only $1. Give us an opportunity to earn your business. As a bonus, you also get a membership. It's a complimentary year to The Athletic, which is always a great read. So come see us at InsideTexas.com. Come see Charlie. Come ask him all these great questions. Come see me. Come see Eric. Come see Joe. Come see the whole crew. Ian, Paul, RT, Evan, Cord. I mean, we got a crew. And then the Girl Herd. Be sure and check those ladies out. That's always a good show. That show with Fozzie Whitaker yesterday was really, really good. Be sure and check that out as well. For Justin and Charlie, this is the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.